Hey guys, welcome back to Tethan Props. Today I'm going to show you how I made this incredible Sauron's mace inspired lightsaber. So for those who don't know, Sauron's mace is from Lord of the Rings. So in the opening scene of the Fellowship of the Ring, Sauron is swinging around this massive mace that looks like this but huge, and he's knocking out all the elves and the men, and it's pretty awesome. So I took inspiration from that mace and turned it into a lightsaber that has a light. Oh my god. And we can put a lightsaber blade in this one as well. I'm just beyond happy with how this original design has come up. Can't be happy with how this has turned out. So, as I said, this fits a lightsaber blade. So if we take this little end cap out, we can actually insert a lightsaber blade into it, just like that. So that stays in with friction fit and works quite well. If we turn the lights off, you can see it's a nice orangey red color. So, I'm beyond happy with how this has turned out. So let's get to how I made it. I started off, as always, with classic 3D printing, but I first had to design this, as this is not a prop that you can find out there. So I had to design this from scratch. To do that, I went onto Thingiverse, picked up a STL file of Sauron's mace, and then I cut it up in my 3D programs to get all the fins separate, the handles separate. I ended up making a few extra bits just in some 3D programs, and then just combining other random files into things like the pommel here. So let's get to it. I finally have all the parts printed. So I initially started off printing a bunch of these fins, but I realized when I'd printed them, they were a little bit thin. So this is one of the original ones that I did, just a little bit too thin. I know that would probably snap off pretty easy. So what I did is I went back to the 3D program, increased the thickness by about 3 times, and reprinted a bunch of them. So this is the old one, this is the new one. They've got the same side profile, but they're actually a lot thicker. So we don't need those ones anymore. We're gonna have emitter, switch, top of the handle, the pommel, and in the middle here, we're gonna do a really cool handle. So just like on Narsil, I'm gonna do something similar to this. So I'm gonna have a PVC handle with some ridges, and then I'm gonna try to cover it in leather and see how that'll go. With all those parts together, that'll be the lightsaber. A lot of work to do, but I think I want to start with this end and then we'll work on the handle. The way I'm going to have it is so that you can remove the handle to get to this battery pack so that you can actually charge it, then you slide the handle back on and it's good to go. First thing I want to do is make it so this can actually slide in the top there, because at the moment it's made to fit a 27mm PVC pipe, but I think this is about 29mm, so I've got to take off a little bit around the outside, and I'm going to do it down to about here so that can slot in the top. This is going to slide in there. Nice snug fit. I'm going to have to cut that down a little bit, but that's where the lightsaber blade's actually going to go. We're going to have the pipe going all the way through. Got to sand that down a little bit so it fits, and then this is where the switch is going to go. So this switch is going to line up with that, but the issue is that we have to add in the filter as well as the lens. So because we want to direct the light in a narrow beam out. If you direct it out like that, it doesn't light up the lightsaber blade very well. So what I've decided to do is make just one complete unit, which will then slide into the PVC. and then everything else will be built off around that. So in order to build this self-contained unit, I need to sand down this outer bit so it fits in there nicely, and I also need to glue together this spacer, this and this all together in one unit so I can just slot that in. All right, we have this all together, so just like that. Perfect. So that will slide. I don't want to push in yet because it might be really hard to get out, but that will essentially slide up into the lightsaber just like that. Perfect. So if we were to put this, that'll go in there. And this slides on, look at that. I think I might actually make this part of the handle, or maybe even remove it all together. I'm not sure yet. Yep, this, not sure what to do with that, but I think let's work with it. Probably have to take off a tiny bit more there, but apart from that, good to go. I've started working a little bit on the handle already. So as I said, I wanted to have ridges underneath the leather that I lay down. So how I'm doing that is, I'm just with some twine, I'm just laying down a bead of glue, spacing them out evenly. And then just gluing the twine down. Got all the ridges done, so now I'm going to do this with black fake leather. So I need to cut out a bit that'll be big enough. I'm making it the tiniest bit smaller than what the actual length of the handle is because I need somewhere to glue that on the end. I'm going to try, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try that where you see the stitching of the two sides of the leather together all the way up, because I think it'll help pull it tight so that you see the ridges properly, but it'll also add like a really cool design down there. So what I need is a bunch of holes evenly spaced out along each side. So I think I'm going to do that. I might try it with a drill first. If that doesn't work, I'll just punch it with this. I've gone and tightened it up the whole way, and I'm really happy with how that's turned out. So you can see the ridges in there. Possibly could have been a little bit higher, but you know what, that looks really good. And now it's time to glue that off there, cut it, and that's pretty much the handle done. Got all my pieces ready to go. It's time to go paint it with some grey primer. Alrighty, first layer of primer is down on everything. I'm gonna paint it all black next, so I think that I can glue these on now and then go ahead and start painting black. So I put down my black layer on 2 pieces, and then I went with some aluminium and just did a really light spray from far away. So I did it with a cool can. So usually I warm up my cans in front of the heater in some hot water before spraying with them because it gives a nice fine mist. But I purposely did this with a really cold can so that it would be really splotchy. So from far away with a really cold can, I got this effect, so it makes it look like metal, exactly the kind of finish that I was after. So you can see a bit close up there, they're really big paint patches. So I think that's turned out exactly how I was after. You can see on the inside there, I haven't painted it, and that's because that's where the lightsaber blade is going to go in, and I don't want paint getting all over, like rubbing off and getting all over the lightsaber blade, so I've left that blank there. So now I think it's time to start putting it together. First thing I want to do is I want to glue the pommel onto the handle here. So it's going to go on just like that, pretty straightforward. Let's do it. The next part is putting the light into the lightsaber. So this one's going to friction fit in there, because if anything happens to this, I want to be able to remove it. So I don't want to glue it in there. So the way this is set up is be able to get that in nicely, and that's going to hold, like I can hold the whole thing off that. It's not going to come out by accident. And now you can see I can't actually really reach the button. So I can, but a bit hard to reach it like that. So what I'm going to do is put in this little stopper. So let's put that in. So now it's much easier to turn the lightsaber on and off. That's pretty much all the assembly done. So this, I don't know if I want to make that the feature piece or if I want it just at the back. So I think for now, I'm just going to have it sitting at the back, but it'll go together just like that. The next thing I need to do is start weathering this. It is time to start painting this. So I am beyond happy with how this looks already, but I think the paint will really just add that extra layer and finish it off. To do the painting, all we need is a couple paint brushes. We want to do some silver highlights, so I've got a silver Sharpie permanent marker, and this will be really good. And then just some dark colors, so burnt umber and black. That's what I usually use, but I think for this one, I think I'm just going to go straight to brown and not put much black on there, because it's already pretty dark, so you might not be able to see it. So let's start with the brown and go from there. So we'll do the dark paint first, and then we'll go in and do the highlights, best order of operations. So this is going to be all the dirt and grime that builds up everywhere, so you want to get in all the nooks and crannies, anywhere where you think that won't get rubbed off instantly. So best way to do it is to just put it in, and then we'll go back with the paper towel in a second and try and rub it off. So if you can rub it off, that means I reckon it would come off normally, so the dirt wouldn't build up in there. But if you can't rub it off, perfect place for you to add some dirt in. I reckon that's all the brown that I need. Not much, less is more in this case. Not more is more, less is more. So now we are on to the silver Sharpie part. So to do this, don't let your Sharpie roll and touch this. If that had just touched that just then, I would have been very, very annoyed. So I've got this dry brushing paintbrush, so the thistles are really far apart. It's perfect for this step. So if you've got a brush like this, perfect for it. So get some of your ink out of here. So the reason I'm using Sharpie instead of paint is that this can go on with really small amounts and you still see it. So you'll see here, I'm just going to go over and just brush lightly. I'm just barely putting the tiniest amount of this on, and you can see it. So it means that you can do really, really detailed scratches, because if I was to do this with paint, I would have to put a lot more on for it to actually start showing through. So just some permanent marker works a lot better for this stage. And it dries really quickly, so I can touch this now and it's not going to come off. It dries nearly instantaneously. So Yeah, it's really good for this stage. So what I'm going to do is just go over the whole thing, especially on the high edges, and just add the tiniest bit of silver on there. I think that's all the painting I need to do on it. So, lightsaber, essentially done. I need to do something about this end, so I might go design something in 3D CAD that slots in there. I might do something different with that. All right, but I think for now, the lightsaber is done. I've gone and made this little end cap. So all this was an insert for a Kylo Ren lightsaber that I just had lying around, put onto some PVC pipe. I painted that part silver and that part silver. So I left this the clear white resin that it was, or the white resin that it was. So then when I put it in here, so it just slots into the end like that, and I turn the lights on, you can actually see it come through these little gaps. So if I painted over that, you wouldn't be able to see that come through there. So I thought that was a nice little addition. Yeah, it looks really cool coming out the end there. And there we have it, guys. That is how I went about making my Sauron's Mace inspired lightsaber. So I just am absolutely thrilled with how this has turned out. So we can pull it apart, we can charge the battery inside there. It's just, I'm just beyond happy with how that's turned out. And then I can just pull out my end plug there, put the lightsaber blade in, and there you go. It's just, couldn't be happy with this. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun making this. So I'm actually working on right now a Gandalf's, maybe I shouldn't spoil it. All I'm going to say is there's a Gandalf inspired lightsaber coming in the works. So stay tuned for that one. And those two will pair up nicely between Sauron and Gandalf's mace. So there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you can make something similar. Go out there, make something cool like this. Combine two of your favorite things, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, into something awesome and original like this. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one. Like, subscribe, check out my other videos. All right, see you later.